Well, here we are again with Objection School, and today I'm actually going to talk about one of my least favorite objections. The reason why I don't like this objection is because basically what happens is that you have these agents that will call on expired listings, they'll call for sale by owners, they'll even call just random circle prospecting, and they'll lead with a script like this. Hi, this is John Smith with XYZ Realty. We have buyers for your house, or we have a buyer for your house. We have buyers looking in your area, something of that nature, leading sellers to believe that us as agents, we just sit with these buyers just in our pocket, as if like we're just out here with a buyer for their specific house. And if we do have a buyer and we're working with buyers at that time, we'll probably like remember their house or bring them by their house to show them and ultimately sell them the house. When in all reality is what happens when we work with buyers is that we look directly to the MLS. As real estate agents, we have access to all of the active inventory that's out there, and all of that active inventory in the MLS also allows us to see that we'll be fairly compensated for the work that we do in order to bring that buyer and close that transaction. So why in God's green earth would we just hold on to these buyers and just bring them to your house not knowing what's going to happen? The seller can say until they're blue in the face, yeah, we'll pay you 2%, we'll pay you 2.5%, but there's no guarantee there, which is why chances are that 98.9% of the time, we're probably going to look to the MLS first, show all the active inventory, and then after that, if our buyer isn't satisfied with what we're showing them, then we can look to do some additional marketing and advertising for our buyer on their behalf in order to find some off-market properties. But unfortunately, it just doesn't work the way that sellers think. Now, it's taken me about 2.5 minutes to get into what the objection actually is, but I actually just had it this morning when I was making my calls. And that objection is simple. Bring me a buyer. If you bring me a buyer, we'll work with you. Now, the problem is that I spoke to a seller this morning and they said that they've had several agents come by saying that they had buyers, saying that they were qualified. And this seller truly believes that some agent is going to show up with a buyer specifically for their house and they're going to sell the house this way. Great, let them believe it. But how do you handle this objection? Now, this is the one objection where I kind of go into a little bit of a more high pressure sales script for this one, where it'll sound a little bit something like this. They say, bring me a buyer. I say, oh, bring you a buyer? I add that uptick in my tone because I want them to clarify what they mean by bring me a buyer. And then I just pause. I pause for 3 seconds, and typically what will happen is they'll go into their whole spiel. Yeah, we've had a few agents come by saying that they had buyers that were interested. Seems like there's some buyers activity out there. Maybe somebody will come by and bring a buyer. And if somebody brings a buyer with a good offer, then we'll sell the house then. At this point, I'm listening. I say, oh, okay. And I'll repeat exactly what they just told me. Okay, so it sounds like you've had some agents either call you or stop by saying that they had buyers. Have those agents produced any buyers for you at all? Or do you have an offer on the table based on those buyers that come through? Now, 100% of the time, I get the answer of no, I haven't. I say, okay, great. Well, that's exactly why I'm calling, because my job as a real estate agent is to not just bring you one buyer, but you want exposure to all the buyers. Is that correct? Now, they should say yes to this, but a lot of times they'll push back a little bit more. And if they continue to push back, just say, okay, well, thank you for your time. Sounds like you want an agent to just bring you that one buyer and you're not really interested in putting your property back on the MLS. If anything changes, I'd like to be the first agent that you call. But if they say, yes, I would like an agent to bring me all the buyers, then you say, well, that's exactly why I called and that's exactly why we should meet. I want to talk to you about what I do to expose properties to the market, to bring you all the buyers in the market and give you the best chance of getting you the most for your property. Does that make sense? They say yes, you say great. So I have some time either right now to go through what I do for marketing, or would it be better for us to set up a separate call so that you have the time to dedicate for me to show you my marketing plan? If everything makes sense, maybe we can move on to the next step. Would that be okay? Now you can set this appointment and you can have a genuine conversation about what real estate agents actually do for sellers. All right. I know this was a little bit longer than my other objection school videos, but this is one that you need to focus on and you should practice because you're going to hear this a lot. So go ahead and try it out. Stay in the pocket.